The plan for today's video is to finish painting everything, get that wing mounted, and get the car ready to drop the motor. Welcome to BodeVision. Yeah, heard. So what is up, guys, and welcome. So today we're going to be moving right along. In the last video you saw me prime all of this stuff. This morning I came in and I sanded everything down with an 800 grit sandpaper. That's why you can see how that's kind of, see how you can even see the reflection in the fender of what's going on behind it. That's what you want your prime pieces to look like, so that way you know the base coat is going to be nice and smooth, and then the clear coat won't have any problem laying on top of that. Now I'm going to give everything one final wipe down, and then we're going to be ready to spray down that base coat, championship white, you know what it is by now, and then stack some clear coat on top of that. So this base coat that I'm using today and this base coat that I've been using, the color code is NHO, championship white. It has a 2-to-1 mix ratio. Now what that means is that when you mix it, it has to be 2 parts base or 2 parts paint and 1 part reducer. So we take our mixing cup right here, and these are all the different ratios that we could be using. So we just got to find the one that says 2-to-1. So you know, 8-to-1, 6-to-1, 5-to-1, 4-to-1, 3-to-1, blah blah blah, 2-to-1 right here. So the way that this works is I want to do a full cup, and I usually like to do 2 cups while I'm doing this many parts. So I'll just go over to here, 2-to-1. This is the mix ratio that we need, 2-to-1, and then we just go to 2 parts, and then I'm going to go to number 6 right here when I fill it up with base coat, and then when it comes time for the 1 part or the reducer, I'm also gonna go to number 6. Now if I didn't want to mix as much, I could just go up to number 4 and then number 4, or number 3 and then number 3. You get the idea. So that's how you figure out your mix ratio, and that's how you use mixing cups. 2 parts paint, 1 part reducer. So lately I've noticed when I'm doing time lapses, I've noticed that the camera looks a little crazy with the lighting. I think it's when the paint gets real thick in the air, the lighting makes it confused, and then it just does that. So I know I was talking about mixing ratios. I showed you how to do it for the base coat, the clear coat. My clear coat just happens to be a 4-to-1 mixed ratio, but you're gonna wanna check with your supplier, and you're gonna wanna check with what kind of clear coat you're using to see what the mixed ratio is. But either way, if it's 4-to-1, just go over, just like I showed you with 2-to-1, find 4-to-1, and you'll do the same exact thing. So it's been about 10 minutes since I sprayed the clear coat, and I mean, check out how good it looks. Man, I cannot wait until we install that wing on the car, get the rest of the car back together, see the fender, see the engine bay with the motor sitting in it, with the red Recaro seats, the Type R motor, everything looking beautiful. We're moving right along. Now in my last upload, M. Hernandez had mentioned to me that they were happy that I masked off the lower grill and then these sections and then the upper part of the grill. I think that adds a great detail and that makes the car look like it was from factory, because that's how it would come from factory. But doing this is not so easy. I mean, it looks clean. It looks clean from this distance, it's all good to go. But when you really look in, it's not perfect, but when you don't have a perfect body line or a perfect seam, it's kind of hard to do, especially around that corner. It'd be a little easier if I had an X-Acto blade, but I'm just working with a regular razor blade. So it's not perfect, but that's what it is and that's how it's gonna be. So I'm definitely happy with it. What do you guys think? Woohoo! So now that the paint's kind of dry enough to handle, I got the brackets on. As you can see, I kind of just finagled them on until they fit. Now we gotta go get it on the trunk. And just like that, we got the wing mounted rear ready to go. Now I gotta put the emblems on it. Man, I think that looks good. So I kind of want to talk to you guys about paint jobs and projects and... Wait one second. So let's just say for a paint job. The 10 sections that I want to break it down into are the initial sand. And this is going to be where you're going to remove any like really flaky paint, anything that's horrible, anything that you really need to get rid of before you even start thinking about body work. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, I like it to be body work. Step number 3, a final sand. Step number 4 would be mask off. 5 would be primer. Then you got to sand the primer. Then you got to do number 7, base coat. Number 8, clear coat. Number 9, wet sand. And number 10, the final buff. So each one of these items, 1 through 10, I like to think of them as a percentage. So each one of them needs to make 10% to eventually make 100% of a good quality paint job. So let's say for the initial sand, you got all that, 100% of it, so that would be 10% for here. And then the body work, let's say again, 10%, so you're doing pretty good. The final sand, 10% again, you're doing real good. The mask off, 10%, you're going real strong. And then the primer, you start to get lazy, so it kind of turns out kind of rough. So let's just go 8%. Now, over here at 6, we should be at 60%. But since we got a little lazy and only did the primer to 8%, that's gonna make the next step, we're gonna have to give 12% if we wanna stay on track. So you got to work harder to make up for the slacking of the previous step. So if the primer lays down real rough, you didn't take your time and you just did not do a good job, sanding the primer is going to be that much harder. Now if you would have got your 10% here and you weren't being tired that day and you weren't being lazy, you wouldn't have to work as hard at the next step, and all you'd have to do is continue to do 10%. But because you got lazy, you had to do 8%. That means sanding the primer, you had to do it that much harder to stay on track with the 60% that we should be at by step 6. So number 7, same thing. Let's say we're doing real good for the base coat, 10% or all of it. Clear coat, again, let's say we got kind of lazy and just say we did a 5%. The clear coat turned out real rough, real bad. Now when it comes to wet sanding, where you would just have to do 10% again, to pull the project back, to get the project back on track, you're gonna have to work that much harder. Now it is possible to really work and to really sand a really bad clear coat to still make it look good, but you're gonna have to work probably even 20% or twice as hard to pull back just 5% of work. So if you lay down the clear coat good, the wet sanding is gonna go good, everything, and so forth. So basically what I'm saying, I hope I'm not boring you with percentages, and I hope this is making sense. If you just take your time and get your 10% for all the way through, you'll end up with your 100% job in the end. Now I like to think that every step of mine along the way that I get about 8 to 9%. So that way I get 9%, 9% for all 10, and then I have a 90% job. I like to think of a 100% job of like a $5,000 paint job or a SEMA quality job. I don't think my abilities put me there yet, but I like to think that when I take my time and I lay down my primer real nicely, I can really tell that sanding the primer does not take as long. And also laying down the clear coat, the better I get, the more I practice, the better my clear coat turns out, the less time I have to spend wet sanding the car. So in conclusion, putting this all together, if you work hard at the previous step, it's gonna make the following step that much easier, and it's gonna get you closer to that 100% quality paint job that you're looking for. So I hope that helps some of you guys out. I like to always think of that whether I'm doing a paint project or just any project. The better you do the step you're on, the more easy it's gonna make the following step, and the better your project is gonna turn out in the end. So man, I'm just kind of stepping back and look at this car. I love it when I'm working on a project and stuff just comes together, and piece by piece it's starting to look more complete. I got the front end kind of mocked up, but it's just sitting there because this motor's got to go back in. So that's what's going to be in the next video. We're going to get the motor back in. Hopefully we get the car started, and hopefully that doesn't all take too long. I think it should go pretty smooth, and by then Josh will be back over here. He'll be helping me out, or I'll be helping him out, or whatever it is, he'll be back over here and we'll get the car moving. That's going to wrap up today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave in the comment section below and let me know what you think, or comment on my little spiel, or comment on anything else. Just comment. Let's get interactive. I'm going to respond to every one of you guys like I had been doing. Man, just look at this car. It looks so good. I cannot get over it. Once the wheels come on, once everything comes on, I'm just blabbling at this point. Blabbling, is that even a word? So thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, in the next video we'll be putting the motor back in, so make sure you subscribe to see what's going on with that. If you've not subscribed already, please join the notification gang. Shout out to the notification gang right after you subscribe to my channel, or where it says that you're subscribed to my channel. Hit that little bell right there to be notified when I'm putting up a new video. So that's going to be all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video, comment, subscribe. You know what it is, YouTube. I'm out.